Hi, my name is Weston Graham, and today I'm going to be posting a rebuttal video to Olivia Hanson's debate post on a federal assault weapons ban. I'm only critiquing her points, and I am just assessing her argument, nothing personal or anything like that. Start off with, she posts and kind of claims there's a definition of an assault weapon. And right off the bat, I disagree that there is a solid definition for what an assault weapon is. Now, if you ask different people and different politicians about what an assault weapon is, typically you're not going to get a very consistent answer other than it is some sort of semi-automatic or fully automatic firearm that can take large capacity magazines. Unfortunately, there are a plethora of weapons that fit this definition that most people would probably not consider an assault weapon. Her first claim is that these weapons were designed for deadly battlefield use, which is not exactly the case because many of these firearms that she claims to be assault weapons were actually designed as sporting rifles or hunting rifles and so on and so forth, used for recreational activity. Though some of them are inspired by military-style weapons like the Colt M4 or the M16, they lack the full-auto / burst fire capability that these military firearms utilize. Many of the civilian variants that you have on the market today are only semi-auto and cannot be fired in full auto unless you are a Class 3 FFL, meaning that you are a federal firearms dealer, i.e. you own a gun store. Now, the idea of the average law-abiding citizen being able to own a fully automatic weapon is next to impossible. You have to have a Class 3 firearms license, and it cannot be made after the year 1986 because of the assault weapons ban, thus barring most people, if not almost all people, from owning a fully automatic weapon due to the pricing of how expensive these fully automatic weapons are. They're in the price range anywhere from about $20,000 and going up from there. You're looking at effectively a down payment on a house or buying a brand new vehicle from 2020. In terms of semi-automatic weapons have been around for about since World War I, when the concept had just started. Now, to move on to their next point, typically assault rifles are not often used in crimes. In fact, it is handguns that are used in crimes more often than not. And now the idea of banning a assault weapon, we'll just use AR-15s for an example, would really do nothing to inhibit criminals from committing atrocities against other humans. And this is because criminals don't actually care about the law, believe it or not. And so banning this weapon only means that they will just use either another weapon or they will find some other means to acquire these weapons illegally or by using something else to harm others. Unfortunately, firearms restrictions have very oftentimes not helped at all to help limit crime or reduce the amount of gun-related deaths in the United States. Now, she brings up a statistic in which these assault weapons account for roughly over a third of mass shooting deaths, which include 4 or more people. With that being said, oftentimes these mass shootings involving 4 or more people are actually as a result of gang-related violence and not some lunatic shooter shooting at innocent people. Oftentimes, these firearm deaths are counted in major cities in the United States and are committed by gangs using illegal weapons that one would consider an assault weapon. So they really should not be owning these in the first place because they would not be legally allowed to own these assault weapons in the first place at all. Now, semi-automatic weapons, on the other hand, have been available since pretty much the end of World War II. And they are the most popularized weapons on the market today, with them being like handguns, sporting rifles like AR-15s, or AK-47 variants of different kinds. These semi-automatic weapons are extremely widely used, and there's well over 1 billion of them in circulation in the United States at this point. That being said, we can take a look at the assault weapons ban in the 90s to get some further information about how effective an assault weapons ban actually was. Now, after the lifting of the Public Safety and Recreational Firearms Use Protection Act of 1994, the Department of Justice funded a study to find out if the ban was actually effective, and concluded that the results were actually mixed. Now, the researchers had noted that at that time, there was in fact a decline in the number of deaths related to the weapons that were banned. With that being said, the decline in assault weapon use was offset throughout at least the late 1990s by a steady or rising use of other guns. So these other guns that people are not wanting to ban, they noticed there was actually an uptick in usage of these to commit crimes and cause these mass shootings. Now, this decline in assault weapon crime had actually continued on after the ban was lifted in 2004. And so the authors of this government-funded study concluded that we cannot clearly credit the ban with any of the nation's recent drop in gun violence. And they also claimed it to be a small at best and perhaps too small to be a reliable measure of effectively eliminating this gun violence. So we can see that even though there were numbers that proved that the amount of crime was reduced by these assault weapons because of the ban, the uptick in other usage of weapons had offset that balance of weapons used. So this means that the assault weapons ban didn't do anything to limit crime in the United States. Now, in conclusion, these assault weapons bans actually do nothing to really limit crime, and instead only take away weapons that are used by good people and law-abiding citizens to protect themselves from tyranny and criminals who seek to do them harm. My name is Weston Graham, and I think that there should not be an assault weapons ban.